The 2024 election will be the first election that will be decided in the courtroom instead of the ballot box. The Democrats' strategy is prosecute Trump instead of persuade voters to vote for Biden. The New York Times reports that President Biden urged his administration on several occasions to prosecute Donald Trump. After being charged for contesting the 2020 election, Donald Trump said this: "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." Biden's prosecutor is now refusing to hand discovery materials to Trump's defense counsel, which he's legally required to do. The government has to show the defense the material evidence against the client, unless Donald Trump takes a vow of silence and agrees that he won't say anything about the government's case against him. The Biden administration is demanding the likely Republican nominee give up his freedom of speech during the presidential campaign. The Biden administration is telling Donald Trump, "We're going to arrest you, and you're not allowed to say anything about it." The Biden administration is saying Donald Trump didn't have freedom of speech after he lost the election, and he shouldn't have freedom of speech before the next election. Asking state legislatures to investigate fraud, recount votes, and asking Mike Pence to send the certificates back to the states was a crime, and he should go to jail for the rest of his life? A politician asking another politician to do something politically outlined in the Constitution is a crime, according to Joe Biden's Justice Department. Contesting an election that the Democrats won is a crime punishable by life in prison. The Democrats want a secret show trial. There will be no cameras in the courtroom, and for the next 9 months, Democrat prosecutors want Trump gagged from speaking about the last election. They don't want President Trump talking to the press about the trial, because only Democratic prosecutors are allowed to leak trial details to the press. That's how that works. Does Trump's defense counsel want cameras in the courtroom?
I personally would love to see that. I'm convinced the Biden administration does not want the American people to see the truth. And they acted on it by filing this protective order, which is an effort to keep important information about this case from the press.
CNN, a so-called news organization founded on the principles of free speech and freedom of the press, wants the President of the United States to go to prison for exercising his free speech rights, and wants reporters to be denied the opportunity to listen to what the former president says about what they claim to be the most important court case in American legal history.
Not only is President Trump being attacked for his First Amendment rights, now these prosecutors are trying to impinge on the freedom of the press.
Okay, let's stick to, I appreciate you trying to stick up
what's
for
happening. I'm telling you.
I appreciate you trying to stick up for us, but let's talk about the actual
I'm telling you what's going on right now.
substance of what.
The intelligence agencies, Silicon Valley, and the American media have aligned with the Democratic Party to remove Donald Trump from social media platforms and now prohibit him from speaking about how the current president is attempting to throw him in jail. But not only that, the media wouldn't even take Trump's remarks live after he was arrested by the Biden administration.
I just wanted to tell our viewers, the former president is expected to speak. We're not going to bring those comments live. We're going to monitor what he says. Anything that's newsworthy, we will turn that around and bring it to our viewers.
So the media doesn't want to listen to Trump's lawyers. They won't let him talk. They constantly interrupt. And the media doesn't want you to listen to Trump. And Joe Biden has been on vacation for 10 days. And the media hasn't asked him a simple question about throwing his main political rival in prison. This is a conspiracy to prevent the voters from hearing from either candidate. Donald Trump was impeached for using government resources, remember, to ask a foreign country to investigate his political opponent. And now Joe Biden is using government resources from his own country to investigate his political opponent. And not a single person thinks that's wrong. Well, except Binder.
This is who Donald Trump is. He did it as a businessman, he did it as a candidate, and now he's doing it as a president. And the thing about now is that he's using government resources to go after his political opponent. Like, that's the thing that we have to remember.
One of the worst ways to instill confidence in our elections is to throw people in prison who question them. If Al Gore had asked Florida to send an alternate slate of electors after the 500-vote recount margin, Al Gore would have been charged with conspiracy to defraud the government? Al Gore believes he won that election. His opponent's brother was the governor of Florida in an election this close. You're saying Al Gore working the phones before certification was illegal? It's preposterous. There were alternate electors sent in 1876. There were alternate ones sent in 1960. On advice of counsel, Trump asked Pence to kick it back to the states for recertification, where state legislatures are constitutionally empowered to determine elections. That's called politics. But apparently Trump's politics are such a threat to Washington that his political speeches could be grounds to throw him in prison before trial if this gag order is allowed.
See, the deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried.